This is the story of how I conquered Elite Temporal Archimedea, with operator only, max modifiers, no gear wheel or specters, and 0 deaths. Operator dropping to 0 HP means reset the run. It all started a couple weeks ago when I first tried this challenge, and I gotta say, I already gave up on the first mission. My damage was not enough, I was getting blasted left and right, and it practically seemed impossible. Next time I wanted to attempt it, the operator was disabled, and can't really do max modifiers if operator is disabled in it. But from the first week I did realize some things. We need to find the perfect harmony of just enough damage and just enough survivability to succeed. So instead of running Unairu for armor strip, which was what I originally planned, I opted for Madurai. Contamination wave, which is our second ability, was way too good to pass up on, increasing our damage by a lot. And on top of that, we also gain a passive that also increases our operator's damage. Sadly, we don't really get to use Tauron Strike, since technically your Warframe does use it, even though it would be hella OP for defense, we are going to have to skip it. We will almost never use Void Strike, it does give you a massive damage boost, but it makes you extremely vulnerable, leaving you with no energy for survivability. For the amp we have 5, 4, 7. This one you also use for Cascade and is just the most versatile of all. You can go for 1, 4, 7, but the 4 and 7 are not exchangeable. Then for the Arcanes, we have Magus Melt. This is absolutely mandatory if you want to attempt a challenge like this. It gives you 210% hit damage at all times if you utilize it properly. Then we have Eternal Eradicate, which will simply synergize with our Contamination Wave. I was considering Eternal Onslaught, which would in theory give you a lot more damage, but unfortunately it has the same weakness like Void Strike, leaving you very vulnerable since you only play low energy at all times. This is very risky and not recommended. Magus Replenish is our only healing source apart from regeneration, healing us about a third HP whenever we use Void Sling. And lastly, Eternal Logistics, which gives us 70% ammo efficiency. And if you combine this with Vikla Safor, you actually get 100% ammo efficiency, allowing you to spam your auto-targeting disc infinitely at 0 cost. This is the most important synergy of the whole run. Then we have Crit Chance, Crit Damage and Multishot. These are the two best damage modes for the amp. Knockdown immunity is also very necessary, since if you get knocked down once, it might just be GG. And lastly, we have a very interesting mod, Lorun Tash, which will give us extra armor. Now you might be thinking that I'm delusional, but in reality, Operator has 75 base armor. This one mod practically doubles your effective HP, and this will allow you to survive a single mistake sometimes. It doesn't make your operator tanky, but it does allow you, with the combination of Magus Replenish, to not get instantly exploded and to not fully be at the mercy of the game. The arcane we use is Zidane Ozbok. This one is the only useful one for a run like this, which will strip Overguard and give you more crit damage. And of course, companions are allowed in this challenge, considering they are actually always available regardless of modifiers. We can't really play Verglass and just nuke everything with the companion, since unfortunately a sentinel does not follow the operator, so it would be hard to make use of this while our Warframe is at spawn. And we can't exactly play our regular nuke companion, well, we don't have access to Roar, so it won't be as good. So we use Panzerwulpaphyla and enable our operator setup more. Viral Quills is the most important mod. It will spread viral and give us more damage. Vicious Bond will give us passive AoE armor strip. Contagious Bond will help us spread the heat from Magus Melt occasionally. We don't go for Panzer Devolution, we use Momentous Bond, Medipet Kit and Tech Assault. All of these are enough survivability that you don't need to worry about it anymore. And lastly, Astral Bond, which I've never used up until now. Again, too much reading, but it's a perfect mod that complements both our companion's damage and our amp damage. For the claw build, we have the regular Kavat setup. Status chance is really not incredible on this companion, but we do run Burning Claws that already matches our heat amp build. Also, I'm gonna be honest, the posture is very inconsistent, but as long as you don't run elusive posture, you will be fine. It's also worth mentioning that the Drifter intrinsics are playing a big part in this challenge. There is some really powerful ones, like straight up getting a damage boost or getting extra max HP. And the last part of our am I Irish now? And the last part of our preparation is the Hex weeklies. You want to look for Got Your Back. If any are available, these will buff your companion's damage. So slotting all modifiers and equipping the correct warframe and weapons, even though we will not be using them, it's necessary for the best rewards. Since there is not a lot of useful pili pixes when you're playing operator only and without using gear wheel, we opt for these. For Exterminate, since Velimir will be assisting us, we go for XL Frosty, which will buff him. For Survival, since Minerva is assisting us, we will go for Cat Scratch Fever, which will buff her. And for the defense, we go for Burgerfest, which will heal the objective. So the run begins. Exterminate went pretty much as expected, breezing through the entire mission. The damage was actually much higher than I anticipated, considering these are level 500 enemies. But we did, after all, have one of the worst modifiers, which is Vampiric Liminus. If you are ever stationary for too long, this is one of those run-ending modifiers. So as long as you keep an eye on this, you should be good. We also had a modifier that doubles the kill count if you don't do objective, so we did it, of course. On to Survival, everything was going according to plan. Another pretty annoying modifier, Sporogenesis, which are these blue blobs on the ground which drain the life support massively until you shoot them down. And you will notice at the course of the run, I forget about them and in like 30 seconds the life support is already nuked. But either way, I was managing up until I got absolutely cooked. And the worst part of all is, I had no idea what even downed me. Even though the attempt is over, I just wanted to see what was doing so much damage. And I got cooked again, and I wasn't any wiser to what downed me once again. Being pretty annoyed by that, we go for attempt number 2. Exterminate once again. Everything was under control until it wasn't. Very similar to the first run, but then once again I just got blasted. That's when I understood the problem. It wasn't the damage, it was the positioning. I had more range than I was utilizing. I can play from so much further away than I was doing originally, and the electric balls from the ground, well, those things will just straight up delete you if you go into them without a shield. There was one option left. I had to fully lock in. Attempt number 3. Full focus, no autopilot, no hesitation. I learned the tileset pretty well already, so doing the objective was very easy. Exterminate being the easiest one obviously, I got it down pretty quickly. And during the run, I was mentally preparing for survival. On the survival, the main issue was that once the Baba Booey spawned, since I was never in Warframe, it didn't really show correctly on the map, so there was no proper way of tracking it. It did show, but either it spawned in Uganda or it bugged out. Not really sure what it was, but either way I made a decision not to chase it. A singular gas proc alone from it could end the whole run. As long as I shoot the blue blobs and activate life support, keep my buffs active at all times, it should all be good. Running a bit low on life support since I forgot to shoot the blobs for 1 millisecond, that's my bad. And with a couple of close calls, we have successfully wrapped up the second mission. And finally, we're off to defense. I had no idea what to even expect, since it was my first time here with operator only. I really thought that specters will be 100% necessary here, since Flare loves to take 1 billion damage in 1 second sometimes. I don't know if the game got confused, since there was no warframes in the near vicinity, but the spawn rate was really not that bad, and it all seemed manageable. I do drop to about 200 HP very early, and again, really no idea what even caused the damage, but the extra armor definitely made a difference between life and death here. I always kept my map open, so I can keep track of any sneaky enemies trying to gank Flare. This also helped me overcome autopilot and focus more. Definitely the annoying part was the modifier, where unless you are next to the defensive target, it would lose HP, but if you are close, then your abilities are disabled. This required some micromanaging, but it was all good. The mini-boss was somewhat tanky, but nonetheless he seemed to not really be in a rush, so we had plenty of time to take him down. In the phase 2, Flare was still relatively healthy, so no reason to panic, until my knockdown resistance just decided to stop working. This almost cost me the entire run, considering I was just spamming all the buttons in panic, but nonetheless I was lucky enough to not get one shot during this time. And for the first time in the entire Archimedea, I activated Void Strike. Not out of necessity, but because there was one enemy remaining. Holy shit, I actually did it. And the defense objective didn't even drop below 50% HP. I have actually had the worst runs as a 4-man random pub while everyone was playing all out with their frames and weapons. This is probably the hardest challenge run I've ever done in my whole Warframe career, but nonetheless it's done. A few weeks ago I couldn't even clear the first mission doing this challenge, but today we wrapped up the whole Archimedea. Some challenges don't require better aim, they require better understanding. That's gonna be all for today. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new. If you want to see more, be sure to leave a like and or subscribe. If you wish to see something specific in the future, comment it down below, and if the idea is good, I will consider it. I will catch you in the next one.